Hello, and welcome to our review of the latest episode of Doctor Who Sleep No More. And we'll be opening up thought this week with you, Sean.
Alright.
I do love the amount of detail we always get when we get your thoughts first.
Didn't hate it. Trying not to be so many different things. Well, I hate found footage films. It's the most half-assed way to do a horror film. It's just trying to be not aliens and not Cloverfield. Well, I did like most of the dialogue.
Agreed.
It was I'm not going to say well written. The dialogue was well written. The plot was, and the science. Okay, bring scientific accuracy to Doctor Who is a dangerous thing indeed.
So yeah, but science is always
when you've got a guy who travels through time.
Yeah, but science of Doctor Who is always one of those things that you kind of just you take it as it is.
Like, huh?
But it's always been like that. You could take it back as far back as you like. It's always been like that when it comes to science stuff.
Well, one thing I did like was no opening credits.
Yes, that's a first, actually.
I like that. And it's trying to be meta at the end with the whole video thing.
We're getting a sequel.
Are we?
Yeah, Mark Gatiss is writing a sequel to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the whole ending,
Which will be interesting.
Where the guy with I can't remember anyone's. That's another thing. I can't remember anyone's name because they were
Rasmussen.
Forgettable as fuck.
It was Rasmussen who was played by Rhys Shearsmith. He was very good.
Very
I liked
good.
him.
He reminded me of a character. I don't know. Of a very young Gary Oldman. Like I remember the young Gary Oldman playing the character.
Yes, I could as well.
I was like, young Gary Oldman for this would be brilliant. Yeah, so like saying it wasn't exactly the Sandman. Insert joke about Marvel joke here about the Sandmen. They were just lumps of turd demons as I called them. They looked like to me.
Do you remember that old magic sand?
What's magic sand?
Magic
you pour it in the water.
The water, and you can craft it and take it out to dry.
They remind me of shit demons.
I got the magic sand look from them a bit more.
Yeah, they remind me of shit demons. Yeah, I liked it as much as I can like found footage because the dust can see you.
So I'm presuming your main issue was
the way it was done and edited and
I can see the cleverness and how
cutting around like I just don't care rapidly.
Which of course, without that though, the whole meta bit at the end doesn't work.
Yeah, and
the very nature of it is the whole episode is Rasmussen's.
I don't like found footage films. I think done the style of them. I mean, I despise Cloverfield with a fucking intensity.
I know, this is why I knew this was going to be mixed for you, because it's, on the one hand, it's your favourite idea of what works well for a scary...
Also, the people remind me of the Colonial Marines.
Yes!
And the guns and everything. I'm like, this is trying to be not alien, or aliens, if it's going to be Marines.
Yeah.
It's not from that, And the first person bits, but I was playing a really shit video game.
Part of that worked, though, actually, for scares. Because you're getting it, it's not like you see something and they don't. You see what they see, which works quite well, I thought, for that. It worked quite well.
I didn't like the way. I think it's just all the editing just got on my wick after a while.
Fair enough.
Because it felt like young boy just got his first editing machine. Everything's fast edited because I've got a new editing software. I can edit everything. Look at me, and I don't.
I think you can possibly maybe not get away, but you can explain it in the inverse theory with the idea of who is doing it. Obviously, from
still irritating to watch. I don't care. It's still irritating for me to watch.
Yes,
a lot of quick editing, but it didn't completely ruin the episode for me. It's still watchable. I enjoyed it. Around Neptune, why Neptune? I whole episode was like, why Neptune? It's a really random planet. It's really bugging me.
Neptune. Unfortunately, my Greek mythology has been a bit rusty lately. Neptune's Roman, I know, but
Neptune's basically a Roman version of
Poseidon.
Yeah, him.
Morpheus though is.
Where's Lawrence Fishburne? Yeah, I know. Or the code name for PS4's, or it's changed its name now. VR thing is called Morpheus. It was called Morpheus, I believe. I thought of that as well. I was like, oh god, Sony have gone evil.
I think part of me wants to go with Neptune. I don't know of any particular significance in terms of mythology. If anyone does know, feel free to comment and let us know. I can't. If you were to go with Neptune, or go with Morpheus, Pluto would be the best suited.
Pluto's not a planet, though. It got downgraded.
I know.
Damn you, NASA!
But I mean, in terms of the whole thing of you going with references to the names.
Yeah.
I think they just went with Neptune because it's a planet on the outer side of the solar system, really. I don't think there's any particular reason why that. It was the idea of being, it's not Earth. It's the idea we've expanded, but we're still within our own solar system. Gas giant doesn't work quite in the same way because if you crash into that, it's a gas giant, so you wouldn't get the same thing. Neptune actually has a solid mass, and it works. We might say, why Neptune? But equally, it's the argument is, well, why not?
Oh, I hate that argument. Arguing with someone, why not? We're getting nowhere. And, I mean,
very true.
Just going to go, why not?
Very true, but we're not the ones coming up with the theory for it.
No, that's me.
All right, I hate that argument as you do as well because the thing is, it's a George argument. It's literally what he used to do for us all the time. Whenever we make, particularly because I remember in the early days of our Fringe thing, I would make a suggestion, he would do this. He makes a suggestion and says, "Well, why?" He says, "Well, why not? That's not a reason."
The reason is how to debate on the internet one-on-one. Why not? And this is why I don't talk to people. They're stupid. And
I'm trying to think if there's any significance between like Neptune and sleep.
Probably not. It's just a very quick glance at Wikipedia, and I do mean quick. And it was probably just a planet, and it's bugging me more than it really should.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm just going to go
in a detail. It's a minor little thing of the
planet. Yeah, you can't do Uranus because the jokes write themselves.
No, because you can't pronounce that anymore.
I still call it Uranus.
Yeah, but
purely for the jokes.
That's why they don't pronounce it like
that
anymore.
I still
Uranus.
It still sounds rude if you in your Uranus.
Doesn't quite work.
It still works for me. Yeah, anything sexual in the window, depending on how you say it.
Yeah, but that's the nature of. Anyway, I liked this episode. I thought it was all right. I'm fairly indifferent to found footage stuff. I haven't seen many of them.
Oh, it's
I can understand why they do it because it's the idea of it's footage that's been found, suggesting that it all goes very badly wrong, which fits a little bit. Actually, that fits quite nicely with what the episode was, because the episode was actually the bad guy won without the Doctor knowing. Which the Doctor obviously is working out at the end. So there's nothing not right about this, but I don't have time to work it out in that same way. Really, actually, a lot of this episode is very different than the Doctor Who, because it is still that thing of we've got a situation, we've got a crisis we need to solve, but the Doctor doesn't solve it.
Mm-hmm.
Or not in a way that's kind of, as we would say, pulling it out of his arse kind of thing. It's the whole thing of coming out of nowhere, the solution's there, and it's all rosy. This one wasn't quite like that, because it was very much, it saved the day, still working within the explanations of stuff we've established previously, so it's not completely, how the hell did you do that? That's come out of nowhere. But the Doctor is still left with the question of why is that all this happened? He's going, none of this makes sense. It's all ridiculous. It's all too like a story, which it is. The whole thing is I quite like that meta aspect to it. My mum didn't like it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about your mum. She didn't like it. Why? What?
She texted me the response before I called her.
Don't like it. Don't call me.
No. It was one word.
Oh, was it?
Naff. My mum walked out partway through to check on the tumble drying, and she very nearly turned it off at one point. She said, "No, I'll see it through to the end." She liked the ending.
Mm-hmm.
She thought the ending was quite clever. She kind of saw that coming a long time ago beforehand. She thought he's probably going to be one of them. My mum seems very good.
That was obvious from the get-go. Unless you are incredibly bad at pattern recognition. That evolved somehow.
But otherwise, she thinks it's the worst one of the series.
No, I still say the Viking one was the most, not worst, but most dull.
You and I agree on that. I think, obviously, my mum didn't particularly enjoy that one either, really.
No, the bad is the sequel one with Rufus Hound. No, just plain...
Oh, yeah. Did not like that one.
Hits off and...
My mum didn't like that. My mum didn't have a problem with that one so much, if I remember correctly. But she didn't like it, but she didn't dislike it either.
Well, only one person I know had a crisis of faith after that episode.
Yes. You love bring that up.
It's got really serious for a moment, like serious talk. I'm having the moment. Oh yeah.
Stop it. Right. It's because the episode really let me down.
It's not the first episode who really let me down. I've just become dull to it.
No, but I have hopes for it
Let's
still.
not forget. Let's not forget. Love and Monsters.
We won't forget it.
We never
Oddly
will.
enough, I can
We
still
never will.
I can watch that without hating it so much now, because a part of me will go, I'll watch it.
There's worse.
Yeah, that was worse. I'm fairly indifferent to Love and Monsters on the whole thing. I don't think it's a good episode, but equally I can watch and go, bit old. It's not what I choose to watch, but if I had to, I wouldn't grumble. Gun to my head, it's not like I can go, no, please, anything but that. I'll go, all right. Yeah. No, I like this one. I mean, it fit quite nicely, the whole horror thing, trapped on the ship. I'm indifferent to the whole found footage. I'd like to see a version of it where it wasn't found footage to see how that might have changed things. Very difficult, I suppose, in parts of the plot, because the whole plot hinges on it being found footage style. I liked the different opening with this the very first time that we've never had the opening credits, which actually fit quite well for this. Because weirdly, this was an episode of Doctor Who where it's not about the Doctor. So it's literally because one of the characters is being the editor, not Simon Pegg, who was the editor. No, I like this week's. Didn't think anything special of it particularly, because you're left with a lot of questions still that are kind of wrapped up at the end, and you kind of want to see where it go on from here, because it is kind of not open-ended, but you know it goes on more than this. Particularly with the confirmation that we're getting a sequel to it.
The next series.
I'm assuming it's next series. I haven't read the article.
It could be years from now.
Maybe. Mark Gatiss has said he's writing. Yeah, he is going to write one. So I'm assuming it'll probably be next series, but it might be some other time. We don't know. So I'll be interested to see what they do with that. I disagree with my mum on it being naff.
Ooh, we fight this Christmas.
Not really. Mum and I have different opinions on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't got really much to talk about for this week, have we?
It's not even a two-parter to me.
It's not a two-parter. It's a wrapped-up story. We know it's getting a sequel, but it's not like, ooh, cliffhanger moment. Where do we go from here? It's very much well, it is a little bit like a where do we go from here, but that's
Still wait 1 week. You've got to wait a whole year.
Well, assuming it's a year.
Well, I assume.
Because at the moment, we still don't quite know what the official scheduling is for Doctor Who for next year, because we've had some mixed reports on that. Some have said we're getting a half series because Capaldi wants to do other projects. Because that was part of the reason why they broke up the seasons for Matt, because Matt was doing other things at the same time. We don't know about that. Moffat and that have also said we are getting a full series next year. So we don't know when it's going to be either, though. So we don't know a lot of the details for when it'll be next year. It might be during the summer. Who knows? We'll get it at some point.
Some point.
At some point we will, but it works. Next week's looks interesting. Again, it's a very good teaser because it gives nothing away as to the plot particularly. We got the return of Rigsy.
Yes.
You're really enthused about this week, aren't you? I can tell the energy. It's just up.
Unlike last week, where I was... Sorry, I'll be enthused.
To be fair, last week we talked in great length and both of us could gabble away for hours.
Yeah.
This week's seems less so.
It was all right. All right.
We also had well, we've talked about it already, but the voiceover confirmed that Maisie Williams is obviously returning next week. We had her voiceover part of the trailer for next week's. It's going to be interesting, the idea of pocket universes or that kind of thing, I think. We know there's something going on in London to do with like hidden streets.
Doctor Who, there's always something going on in either London or Cardiff.
Usually it is London, even if, although it's filmed in Cardiff.
It's filmed in Cardiff. That's clearly in London. That's very Cardiff. Torchwood Cardiff gets invaded.
I quite like the reference they had to it a bit last week. The idea of being the Doctor doesn't actually like London. He just spends a lot of time there just because stuff happens there.
Most people who live in London don't really like it there. It's just
it's where your work is.
Yeah, so it's just you have to.
It'll be interesting. I have no idea quite what's going to happen with it. We literally face the Raven.
I'm reminded of that old children's TV show.
Which one?
The Raven one with it was all medieval. You don't watch it? Okay, it's just me. Medieval one.
Oh, that
The
yes,
guy with the beard, yeah.
yes. It was
God, that's going back, and I feel really old.
wasn't it? Right, I'm trying to see if I can remember it correctly. It was a kind of a kids show that kids would sign up to, and you'd have to do tasks, that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
essentially gladiatorial sports for
Yes, I
kids.
can't bloody well remember what it's called, but I can remember. I know what
And he
you're
was called
talking.
Raven, and
It wasn't. He was called
yeah, I think the
Raven.
show was just called Raven. That's what it reminds me of whenever I see a Raven. That or Teen
Maybe.
Titans, and there's a distinct lack of Teen Titans Raven. So
Yes.
damn
I don't
it.
know. Next week's looks interesting. I don't know where they're going with it or what's going to happen. So, and I generally don't watch much in the way of trailers at the moment because I quite like avoiding them. Just because I'm worried I'm going to see something that will just spoil it all for me. It'll be interesting.
After that will be after It's the 2-part season.
Yeah, with the first one just being Peter, there's no one else in it. Very interesting.
It'll be the end of the series.
That's the end of the
Till
series.
Christmas.
Till Christmas. And we've had a few things confirmed for Christmas.
Have we? It's on December 25th.
Riversong will not know he's the Doctor.
Ah,
There will be romance
just what I
between
need
River
for
and the Doctor.
Christmas.
That's about all we had confirmed.
Well, I'm glad.
That's me reading headlines, though. Again, I do my best not to read the articles at the moment. Which is a weird thing of afterwards. Yeah, I can read the articles because I know what they're going to be talking about. But I try not to get ideas because I don't like getting ideas for things too much because I'm worried I'm going to be spoiled for me, or it'll be I go in with too much of an idea and then I'm let down because it doesn't live up to the expectations. Which is why I try and go into watching all things these days with a completely open mind, not knowing what to expect, and then I can be disappointed.
I just assume it's shit, and if it's not, I'm pleasantly surprised. If it is, I knew it, and I'm not. I know. And if it's really bad, then I get quite angry.
Well, you don't go to the cinema, so I can talk about like film trailers in that way because Age of Ultron, for instance.
I still haven't seen it, but I have no interest in seeing it.
I know. I went to go see Age of Ultron, and I went with our friend Jack, who joins us on the Star Wars commentaries, and some of the Batman stuff last year actually as well.
Him as well before Batman.
Jack was disappointed by Age of Ultron because it wasn't as good as he expected it to be. That's why I try not to tap in too much to the big hype about big films. For instance, I'm very excited for Star Wars. But I'm doing my best.
I'm just, maybe it's going to be one nostalgia bone, but be a pretty medical film, pretty much like Jurassic World.
I'm expecting it to be better than Jurassic World. No, Jurassic World was brilliant. I love Jurassic World, don't get me wrong. But I'm expecting it to be better because you can do more with Star Wars that you can't do with Jurassic World, really. No, but I generally try and avoid like all the trailers because you've got like all the TV spots and all the trailers and that are being released for it now in the run up to Christmas because we've had the 3 official trailers released and now it's all just going to be TV spots. And they'll all show slightly different footage every now and again, so you get new footage. And I generally do my best not to watch them because I want to go in to see the film knowing as little as possible about it other than what I got from the trailers.
Which is basically A New Hope. On not Tatooine, but clearly Tatooine, but not Tatooine.
It's Jakku.
It's a fucking sand planet with scavengers on it. It's fucking Tatooine.
But it's Jakku.
It's fucking Tatooine.
It's not Tatooine.
I guarantee you it's going to be one massive nostalgia bone to hide a mediocre film, just like Jurassic World. Was just a massive bit of nostalgia. Because, hey, don't have to make a good film, just put nostalgia. People will like it.
Right. Will you go and see it in the cinema, or will you do what your usual thing of you won't see, but you'll read reviews about it?
I might read a few reviews. If people say it's really good and I enjoy it, I might go watch it, but I have no I don't like cinemas generally. It's full of people.
You hate cinemas.
They're full of people. Noisy people who eat popcorn the loudest fucking way possible.
Right. I would recommend do what I've done on a couple of occasions. Go in the middle of a day on a weekday because it's dead quiet there and there'll only usually be a couple people, if anyone else. I went to go see Jupiter Ascending. There was only 5 other people in a bloody IMAX cinema with me. Recommend not seeing it. It's a bloody awful film, nevertheless.
There's that review of Jupiter Ascending right there.
It was appalling.
But was it so bad it's good, or was it just dreadful?
It's just...
Oh, it's just dreadful. It's maybe like so bad it's awesome. It goes back around and becomes awesome.
I think I remember telling you about it not long ago.
Well, yeah, you did.
I remember telling you about it.
We're getting off topic again. We can do this after we finished.
Yes, we can.
Back to Doctor Who. Away from Star Wars and Jurassic World.
Again, I'm interested to see what they do with next week's. I don't know where they're going with it, really. It'll be interesting. Obviously, Riggsy's going to die because he's got a mysterious tattoo that he doesn't remember getting.
Oh, I had that. It's called getting drunk.
You don't have any tattoos.
No, that you know of.
Moving on.
There's your mystery of the week right there.
Does he have a tattoo or not? The answer is no.
You've seen every part of my body.
Yep.
And that's kind of worrying now. I'm going to have to call the police after this. Now, on this doll, where did he touch you? I don't know. That's the worst. I didn't touch him anywhere. I just looked. And still legal.
No, this week's was all right. One thing is special, but it wasn't bad either.
Not dull. I'll give it not being dull.
It didn't let me down in any way. I'd like to see a different edited version, but I think you couldn't do that with the same plot. I liked this week's generally. I didn't have any issues with it. It wasn't anything special for me either, though.
Mine is just like I hate found footage films. Not a lot of fast editing. Not a lot of just editing in general. It's just. But that's me.
Yeah. So I think also that pretty much concludes our thoughts for this week's. It was all right. Didn't hate it, but...
Scale from shit, alright, to good. To kind of just,
To be fair, we both really liked last week's.
Yeah, I enjoyed last week's.
We really enjoyed last week's. Which is, again, is that one of those rare moments of there's something that we think, oh, that's really good. Because people are still talking about that speech that Peter did during last week's as well, particularly with the recent events.
Yes.
In past days. We haven't put anything out there, but... It's coming at the tail end of this recording rather than at the front end. But if I can just say on behalf of us, our thoughts go out to the tragedy that happened in Paris last night. Our thoughts go out to the country, the city of Paris, the nation of France, and all the family of those who were affected. And of course, all the other numerous tragedies that have been happening over the past few weeks. Really, we're dealing with a very difficult time, obviously. We've gotten very serious suddenly.
Very serious.
Oh, it is a little bit, isn't it? Really, there's no ways to do this in sort of lightheartedness. Our thoughts go out to all of them. And with that also...
Well, that's depressed me for the rest of the evening.
Very sorry. That also, therefore, brings our review for Sleep No More to an end. So you can join us next week for the next episode.
Later time, because someone's busy.
Yes, that one will be coming out a slightly day later because I'm working next Saturday evening, so I won't be able to watch it until... And I'm working Sunday day, so it'll be Sunday evening that we do the recording. So it'll either go up Sunday evening...
Monday, somewhere.
Most likely be coming up next Monday.
It's
Monday
how late now, okay.
So it's slightly delayed.
How long the video is now, if you to edit, render it, and...
Very true.
If YouTube wants to not take forever to do anything.
And hopefully your internet will be
Hopefully, it's fine now. It's been temperamental during the day.
It's a strange mix where your internet's buggy and mine's fine.
Yeah, it's the ironic twist. Yeah, and suddenly Skype drops the call.
So join us next time for the review of the next episode.